Alright, so we need to tighten up the fuel clamps on the fuel rails because with these cars during the winter time the actual fuel lines themselves will shrink because of the cold temperature. So as an annual maintenance, as a preventative measure, we need to go through and tighten each one of these clamps. I went and counted and I think there's around 16, so there's quite a few. So I'll go ahead and walk you through this. The first step you need to do is remove the throttle cable cover right here in the center. And I want to point out, this is for newbies, this is for everybody, that there's 4 bolts, 1, 2, 3, and a hidden 4th, so don't catch yourself and break the last rear bolt there. So once you have that removed, we're going to go over to the dampener, this guy right here, and this one has probably more clamps than you realize. There's one on the top, which I'm going to go ahead and check mine right now. It's pretty tight. You have 2 down below. Let me get a flashlight. And you can see this one connecting to the fuel rail. Mine's nice and tight. Then a second one underneath the dampener. That's pretty tight. And for tightness, you just want them so that they're, torque them a little bit. Make sure they're feeling pretty firm. You may have to tighten them up more if you smell any sort of gas smell. And one of the other things about the dampener and the regulator is the clamps are pretty far down. You can see this one right here. It's actually kind of hard to get to. It may help to loosen it, then move it into a better position for the next time you come around. So spend your time the first time doing it. The second time will be much easier. Okay, so we're going to go to this one right here in the center. This one pretty tight. We have another one going to this fuel hard line to the regulator tight. This guy right here. That one's a little loose. Then these are some hard ones right here. This one, if you follow the screwdriver, there's one right below the regulator, and I don't like this one. And this one's actually was pretty loose on my car, so I wouldn't have caught this one normally. You may want to bring the camera around right behind the flashlight so you can see that. Okay, so you guys see where that is? There's one more down there, and it connects to the fuel rail, and that's right here. So don't miss these ones. These ones were actually loose on my car because the last person to tighten them didn't do a good job or didn't know about them. Okay, so mine is actually still a tad loose. Okay, so that's good. Here's 2 other hard ones. They're at the top end of the fuel rail. They're right down here. Let me get a screwdriver on them. Let's see here. Here's one. This is why we take the throttle body cover off. And you'll have to look straight through to see that. There are screwdrivers on it. And this one is actually really loose. I put a full turn and a half on that. Maybe almost 2 turns. 2 turns now. That's not good. So that one could have leaked. The next one is right down here. You can access it from the side or from the top. Mine is actually, I remember tightening this last, and I moved it so I can do it from the top. Mine would have to go kind of from this angle. And you may want to move this one at a better angle as well. And be careful, these ones slip and it makes it kind of miserable to bring it back into position, but it's possible. Be patient. So let's go around to the right hand side over here. We have the 2 clamps on the hard line. These ones I already tightened up, I believe. These ones are usually pretty easy to catch if they're loose. That one was a little loose. And then follow these down to the fuel filter. This is a really common spot for leaks because when people replace the fuel filter, they kind of mess with this line. You can tell if it's OEM, if it has the shielding, and it's also a really good thing to look for if you're buying one of these Z's. If it still has this shielding and if it's cracked on the curve points, probably never been replaced, so you should probably replace that with the filter. Rarely do people buy the shielded units because they're much more expensive. So tighten the other ones downstream. Sorry, upstream actually, because the filter runs this way. And then there's one behind that. And that should be all of them. So there are 4 more, and on my car there are actually 2 that we have to worry about. You follow down from the fuel filter and go down below to below the brake booster. So these are going to be very hard for the twin turbos, however my NA will be very easy to demonstrate on. You'll see the two lines right here. There's clamp 1, here's a spring clamp 2, there's spring clamp 4, or sorry 3 right there. Then there's a screw clamp 4 in the corner. So I'm pretty sure these were never touched on my Z because they're very hard to see. I'm kind of worried that these are going to be very loose. For the upper clamp, I had to use a very long screwdriver. First I loosened the entire clamp, rotated it so that it's vertical, and then I could easily get the screwdriver so that I could torque it back. And the lower one, I had to use a short screwdriver, just a little stubby one, and I managed to put it on there because I have basically no clutch booster, vacuum lines, or anything like that. And I'm happy to report that that one was incredibly tight, and I actually didn't get even an eighth of a turn on it. So hopefully yours is tight as well. That's a nightmare to get to. Okay, so I'll run through them one more time just to count them out for you guys. I had several that were loose. So there's 4 over here. 1, 2, 3, and 4 in front of the filter. 4 down below, below the brake booster. 2 on the hard lines right there, and then another one here. We go over to the regulator. You have 1, 2, a third below the regulator, and a fourth on the actual fuel rail down here, which I can't even put my screwdriver on. It's right down there somewhere. Can't see. Right there. Then we go over to the dampener. You have the one on top and the 2 below, and then you have the 2 up front. Okay guys, so hopefully that helped. Don't let your Z catch fire. It's happened to a couple of us, actually the best of us. So be safe, have a nice winter. Later.